Spyder's back! Great Cup video time! YouTube session. Yeah, 109th Great Cup. Spyder, CFL's Red Zone rule. Hit it! Hit it! Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL's Red Zone rule. Hit it! Here to hear you loud, chanting loud in the red zone. Yeah, we want Spyder's CFL Red Zone rule, okay? Yeah, wouldn't it have been great at the 109th Great Cup to hear, like, everybody chanting loud in the red zone? We want Spyder's CFL Red Zone. Spyder's CFL's Red Zone rule. Hit it! Red Zone rule. Hit it! Just playing around. A little rusty. I haven't played the drums in a long time. Got to get the wrist in shape. The wrists. And the way I'm sitting here playing on marble. Are you kidding me? Anyway, I'm back. Spyder's back. We're gonna do a Great Cup 109th Great Cup session. That was too long of an intro. Sorry to bore you, but I was just going a little crazy, like a Guess Who song and So Long Benetton. Check that album FM song out, man, fantastic. You know, that's exactly what happened, I would say, in the last 3 minutes, or in the last quarter of the 100th Great Cup in Regina. It was going a little crazy. The wild finish. Crazy, bizarre, bonkers. I don't think in my lifetime I've ever seen a more exciting fourth quarter in the Great Cup, and definitely, there's our 3-minute warning. But that 11 minutes, the drama and excitement, something that would be like my CFL Red Zone rule was wisely adopted by the CFL in the Red Zone. I'll get into that later before we finish. I'm going to do 2 sessions, by the way. This will be my last 2 sessions. I'm back on my main set. I'm featuring the Argonauts. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why can't I promote the Argonauts? Yeah! Boom, 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 boom. Why not? I tell you, I've been an Argonaut fan first and foremost all my life. And I brought my son up to be, he had a Damon Allen Argonaut jersey. I bought him, and we went up to see the Eastern Final of the Alouettes. 43,000 in the Sky Dome, and we were given these shirts, these golf shirts, because we came up from Halifax, seriously, and we were going to have a chance to, if they would have won, to meet Damon Allen, but they lost, and everybody was sad, of course, disappointed, so we didn't get a chance. But this is the original hat, okay. Actually, Cloud Bethel Thompson was wearing this, okay, at the Great Cup before the game. He had this exact hat, this one right here, the original Argo hat, right? Some a bit unlike their logo, which is their Argo logo that they're wearing in the uniforms right now. I just wish they would put their on the shoulders rather than have it blank. Put their logo again on the shoulders. All CFL teams. Same with helmet dog hats. You've got to have stripes on your legs. Blank pen. It just doesn't look good. Come on. Learn to dress up. And talking about dress up, before I get to the 100th Great Cup, well, that's what I'm going to talk about. But now that I'm on to dress up, okay? Do you remember the CFL logo when Mark Cohen was commissioner of the CFL? Do you remember this logo? It's colorful, isn't it? Okay, there's a football, there's a Canadian flag, red flag, and there's like my CFL Red Zone rule. Maybe that's why they're so jealous. They won't go for it, but it's sort of like my CFL Red Zone rule. It's slanted like that, okay? Now, fast forward to now, Randy Ambrosie's commissioner, and he shoves this ugly logo down our throats. This ugly logo. Look at it. Just look at it. I mean, that's supposed to mean the three lace, I guess, on the football. I guess the logo itself is supposed to be a football, but it looks like a dull gray cloud. Actually, the Guess Who and So Long Band on Burton Cummings, they did a song called Gray Day. Well, it looks like Gray Day, like a gray cloud, really and truly. And this supposedly is supposed to be three laces, meaning three down football, you know? Laces on, it looks like a mustache. And then at least 70% of that logo, maybe, I would say if I did the math, it's close to 70%, is basically that gray cloud. That's what it is, a gray cloud, you know? And what is that down there? Is that supposed to be a Canadian flag? Okay? And where's the football? Like, it's supposed to be football. This is supposed to be professional football, three down football. Where's the football? That's not a football. That's like a gray cup. No, it's not. I did give him too much credit. That's not like a gray cup. No, the most beautiful, by the way, trophy, as far as I'm concerned, in professional sports. No, I don't know what this is. It's like a barrel. It's like a light gray barrel. You know, like I don't know what this is, but and then also the fonts. I mean, it's elementary, basic fonts. I mean, the C looks like, I mean, if you turn it upside down, it'd be a black bench, right? Or half a horseshoe. The F represents flags, and more flags. We all know that. And the Canadian Flag Football League, right? You know, yeah, same thing. I'm going to talk about that too. But this is absolutely, this is terrible. And that they had this at center field. After, just like every year when Mark Cohen was commissioner, the CFL come up with host teams, the CFL host teams that host a Grey Cup come up with their own logo for their Grey Cup, like the 108th Grey Cup, like Houndon 107th, like so forth, like Calgary did, and the 109th Grey Cup in Saskatchewan. They put a lot of money in there. They have the green color there. Did you see it? They were, you know, I mean, it was on the TSN panel, okay, in front, and the Argonaut and the Winnipeg logos on each side, and they flipped it around a lot with good, amazing graphics with the TSN with the Grey Cup, with the 109th Regina host city Grey Cup logo, which was fantastic. And when Mark Cohen was commissioner, because it's the Grey Cup, it's not you, Randy Ambrosie, and your hash mark ridiculous. I'll get into that too, and your horrible, ugly looking, dull, you're gonna fall asleep, you can't even see it. I mean, it even made it even worse when you put it in center field. Where the Regina host, fantastic looking with their theme of their new stadium and the green color and the Grey Cup and the Canadian flag, that's the logo that should have been on center field, not this crap. You could see the mosaic logo underneath it. And I mean, it didn't even wash off in the end zone, the Saskatchewan Roughrider logos. I guess in most CFL cities don't have to worry about because they don't even have logos, etc. Their whole team, which they should have, in every stadium, should be compulsory. From a marketing point of view, they should have their team logo and their, and except for Edmonton, it's the only one, and their logos. Calgary's almost, but they have their University of Calgary in one end. But Edmonton's the only one. Their team logos in the end zone and the center field, which every CFL team should have. Despite, like, pay them more rent, or pay them to do it. I mean, this technology today, you can take it off. I mean, come on. This got to go. This is a joke. This logo is an absolute disgrace. Look, what is this? A half, a Canadian red leaf? Half? What is this? What is this? It's terrible. It's terrible. And I talked too much about that, but I mean, this was a way better logo, and they should go back to it, or take. I wish they would take the lines off the ball. Also, get rid of the logo, come up with a new, more jazzy, more colorful logo. So the NFL is just colorful, and it would look fantastic, right? and the Grey Cup host team logos that they spent a lot of time on designing and coming up with, got to go at center field, Randy Ambrosie, not you and your hash pipe, hash mark roll garbage, and you this egotistical Randy Ambrosie, ugly looking, gray cloud, mustache, half of, what is that, half of maple leaf, is that what that is? I don't know, upside down barrel, a logo, I don't know, okay, you want to, oh, there's a bench you can sit on right there. Anyway, come on. Listen, Randy Ambrosie was booed twice. He was booed when they tossed a coin. That's a nice looking coin, see? There's the logo. It's not even on the center field in the Grey Cup. And that's in the logo, the Regina host Grey Cup host city logo. And it's also the Grey Cups in the host city Grey Cup logo, which got to be at center field. Randy Ambrosie, I mean, that looks so disgusting. And the team logos, Argonauts and Winnipeg, I mean, seeing, the Saskatchewan Roughriders logo underneath them, and the same with your crappy logo at center field, seeing Mosaic State logo underneath, you could see it like, it's a joke. It's a Band-Aid job. It's terrible. You got to go. I'm sorry, Ambrosie. I mean, people have had enough of your bullshit, I'll tell you the truth, and they booed you when the coin toss at Grey Cup at center field on your shitty logo, and also they booed you when they presented the Grey Cup, even when there wasn't a lot of people still there, but they booed you, and you deserve to be booed. And seriously, what have you done? What have you done? You're every question they ask you, the State of the Union address, and even the fans, you bullshit around every question because you haven't done anything other than practically destroy our game, our CFL 3-down game of football, and with your in bed with the Canadian players, and it's unbelievable, Players Association, because you belong to it, which you never should have been hired, because it's a conflict of interest right there. You never should be hired. That's why they're going to 8 Canadian starters and 21 Canadian guaranteed roster spot, and 8 guaranteed starters, actually 10, believe it or not. It's unbelievable. And by the way, on the awards, and I'm going to get into the game and then talk about the awards, but I just want to mention on the awards, now that we're talking about Randy Ambrosie's failures, tremendous amount of failures, and BS, bullshit. What is this with the Canadian award? What about, because you have a Canadian ratio, I think then, because if you're shoving that down the throat, you should have an international award, because now you're global, that you haven't made a cent on, right? That takes an American spot. Yeah, you're screwing the Americans, good, Mr. Ambrosie. Your Canadian Mafia with Miller, and the cheating that was going on, I'll talk about that in the CFL, the 109th Grey Cup, and Regina was unbelievable. And that was an order from Ambrosie. And Dave Dickinson, right, the Canadian Mafia, listen, I'm saying that because I am so Canadian, and I don't believe in this bias stuff. I don't believe in Canadian ratio, and I don't believe in a Canadian Mafia, a commissioner with Miller, okay, the CEO from Winnipeg, when Randy Ambrosie's from Winnipeg, and they're basically trying to rig games they're for Winnipeg, just like they were the Calgary Stampeders. They're cheating. The referees are cheating for Winnipeg to win. He's got to go. Ambrosie's got to go. Mark Cohen never would have done that. But I tell you, it was happening the whole game. The whole game. It was happening. The whole game. It was happening. It was unbelievable. They never gave a penalty to Winnipeg until the 4th quarter. Listen, Winnipeg fans, I love you, man. You're great fans. You support your team, and I was happy for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 107th Grey Cup with my son. I was there. It was a fan, and the halftime show was fantastic. I'll get into that in a minute as well with Keith Urban, and they went all out. And you can laugh about Calgary as much as you want, Saskatchewan Roughrider fans, and about Calgary Stadium, but at least all the seats were full. And Mosaic, I don't know what happened, but there was a lot of empty seats. So I don't know, there was a snow job by the Riders CEO Reynolds that said it was sold out. I don't know, but there was a lot of empty seats. And in Calgary there was none. There was 36,000 there, and it was packed. And the halftime show was fantastic, and the Grey Cup was fantastic. And it looked a lot better than, you know, zooming down with 52 cameras and HD and the Skycam and see all these empty seats. And then Reynolds says, oh, it's because people that know shows. What do you mean? You don't have enough hotels, that's one thing. So I read that people bought tickets that couldn't go because they get hotels. What is that? I mean, you've had how many years to correct that? A decade or more? I don't know what's going on. But anyway, getting back to the cheating, the referees, they were cheating like crazy on giving Toronto Argonauts penalties and not calling offside. Winnipeg Blue Bombers were offside. The defense backs jumped too. Never called anything. They were holding to. Never called anything. Not once. They had 3 penalties, and the first one was almost the start of the fourth quarter, but a minute and something left in the third quarter. And Winnipeg receivers, 2 at one time, were jumping offside by 1 and sometimes 2 yards, and blatantly offside, and never called it once. Not once. Not once. Not once. And then at the end of the game on Banks, that was a cheap shot. They were doing everything. And by the way, that face mask, I'll get into the 3 minutes of the fourth quarter in a second. I'll go over all that. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to do 2 sessions back to back. It's very important. Because, you know, I'm just turning the light up a little bit more light because we're in dark pretty well here now. It's almost dark in Halifax. And by the way, I hope you watch my last 2 sections because I'm going to do a big thing on Touchdown Atlantic and what's going to go on in these meetings. And Brosy and his what he put together, well, actually the CFL did. And it actually, the owner of the BC Lions is on the expansion committee. So I'm sure Brosy didn't come up with this. If he's on it, I'm sure he had part of it. And they want to get a 10th franchise team. I have some insight of what's going on in the meetings here, either this week or next week. I think it could be this week, but if not, it'd be definitely next week. They're coming. And I can tell you who they're visiting with, and I can tell you what's going on, and also tell you about Touchdown Atlantic 2023. So you tune into the next session, and I'm going to go over all that, and I'm going to give you some information, my perspective, and things that I know, okay? Because I know some things. So it's not, the Atlantic schooners are not dead, okay? The Atlantic schooners are not dead. So anyway, getting back to the referees, the cheating was so blatant, it was unbelievable. And you know, the Argonauts, and by the way, it was, like some people say, it was crappy 3. I watched it now 2 times since I've watched it live. I have watched it twice because of this session and my next session. And I can tell you right now, the first 3 quarters weren't crappy. It was a great. It was probably one of the best in the top 5 Grey Cups of all time, out of 109. It was, and certainly the fourth quarter was the best quarter ever in a Grey Cup game. I mean, the twists and the turns and what happened in the game is unbelievable. What happened? I mean, so it's the wild finish like you could hardly imagine would be even believable, you know. And then the improbables too, you know, like with Chad Kelly. It's just crazy. With Argonaut, rookie backup quarterback, nephew of you know, the Kelly quarterback, Buffalo Bill, who went to 3 or 4 Super Bowls, never won one. But so it was phenomenal. The game was phenomenal. And Enoch Wamba, I mean, you know, that interception and him winning the most valuable, and then the most valuable Canadian. And I'll get back to what I was saying earlier about awards. That's not fair. It's fair for him, yes, but it's not fair for the American players, or in Randy Rosen's case, a global player. That's taken another American position, and it's so biased, it's so political. Randy Rosen's so political, with his liberal politics. And he basically destroyed the Edmonton Eskimo franchise. Seriously, they even took away basically the logo. They brought it back because they lost so many fans. Because of Trudeau's politics when he was running. Randy Ambrosie was behind this whole thing, which basically destroyed droves of all season ticket holders. And it was a successful franchise, one of the most successful in the CFL. They all walked away because of Randy Ambrosie. And here's the thing, how many votes will he get? Well, he won't get Edmonton, and he shouldn't get Montreal, and he shouldn't get Toronto. He'll get Hamilton because he get Bob Young, 2 Grey Cups, and the the new BC owner, because now we give him a Grey Cup in 2024, and he's on the expansion committee, so he's in tight with him. But I can't see Calgary voting for him. I can't. I can, like, a lot of CFL fans would be so happy if he was gone. He bullshitted me and lied to me about my rule. So disingenuous of him, like, that he was going to present it to the CFL Innovation Rules Committee, but he snowed me again twice. He's a very dishonest person. He's so pompous, and he's so egotistical. And I'll tell you something. I'll get back to the awards in a second, and the rest of the game. This is probably going to win, definitely in the next session about the Grey Cup, 109th Grey Cup, and plus when I'm going to talk about Touchdown Atlantic and the meetings, expansion meetings coming up in Halifax, with the CFL in Halifax and the province in this week or next week. But the thing is about the Grey Cup. I mean, Bethel Thompson said it right when he dislocated his thumb. I'm highlighting different things, but I'm not, putting together in a systematic way about how I perceived and what I took from the 109th Grey Cup, but I will. So I'm just doing highlight little tidbits here, but he said something interesting in an interview when he got back in Toronto about, or it was at the Grey Cup when they won the 109th Grey Cup. Dramatically won it. He says, it's not about me. He says, it's about the team. So I put my ego aside. It's the same, I thought about my rule, my CFL Red Zone rule, and that's what happened with my CFL Red Zone, because of Randy Ambrosie's ego, and whoever's on the CFL Innovation Rules Committee and the CFL Rules Committee, it's about their ego, about Huffman, his ego, and coaches, their ego, especially the CFL, it's ego. And head executive, and Randy Ambrosie's, his ego. It was them. It was them that basically tried to silence and suppress my CFL Red Zone rule, because they were jealous, because they didn't come up with themselves, because of their ego. And I thought about what Bethel Thompson said, and it was so true. He said about Chad Kelly coming in. He naturally said, yeah, I'd love to stay in when dislocated my thumb. I would have loved to lead the team and win the Grey Cup. But he said, it's not about my ego, it's about the team. And he had some amazing words, I know, for Chad Kelly. I forget, you could see it you could, like, it was silent there because the mic wasn't on, but you could tell what words he was saying to him, and just like a father figure. He's a fantastic guy, Bethel Thompson. He stayed with the Argos. He's loyal to since 2017, like 5 years. And he said the CFLs are great. And he called Randy Ambrosie out too. He said, "You're not a leader. You don't promote the CFL." Randy Ambrosie run the CFL into the ground. He doesn't know anything about marketing the product. He's horrible. He's lazy. He's not well presented. He's a bullshitter. He's very disingenuous, very dishonest. He's a con man. That's what he is. And he's the commissioner. He's got to go. And so that's why, because it wasn't their baby, my CFL Red Zone rule, and that's why they canned it, or Ambrosie, out of jealousy, because it wasn't their baby. And they didn't come up with themselves. And they couldn't get full credit for it. Can you imagine that? And like Steve Armitage said in this picture with me, my CFL Red Zone rule hats, he said that's the only possible way, because he said your rule is just too big of a rule that they could possibly not adopt it. He said it's the only way because of ego, because it wasn't their baby. They didn't come up with themselves. That's our commissioner. That's Randy Ambrosi. That's the people like Huffnagel and other on the CFL Rules Committee. Their ego and their hash pipe, ridiculous hash pipe rule. And by the way, one other thing before I close, I'm going to do another one right away. Is Randy Ambrosi said in the State of the League, like something about, oh yeah, 2 and outs are down like 12%. Well, 51% of touchdowns scored in the red zone, and that's not in the red zone, by the way, because of basically 2 and outs, 2 down football stops in the red zone, resulting in another boring, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goal. Because there was so many 2 and outs, it was insane. I mean, the Riders had like. There were teams that were like they had so many two and outs. I mean, and also the reason went up a bit because look at how bad. I mean, there wasn't any, how bad Hamilton were to get in the playoffs. How bad the CFL teams and there wasn't any. Saskatchewan Roughriders couldn't get over get over as a crossover wild card. They were so bad, and Ottawa was so bad. It was unbelievable. And Hamilton was so bad. That's why there was 12%. He said touchdowns were up. Well. Yeah, of course they would be. You know, the team's that bad. But guess what? It wasn't because of your hash pipe rule, Randy Ambrosi. Okay, and they start at the 42 now, not the 35. That helps somewhat. But it wasn't because of any rules, especially not your high smoking stone hash mark, ridiculous Mickey Mouse little hash mark rule, Ambrosi. You egotistical Ambrosi, you pompous Ambrosi. I don't even call you a commissioner. You know, you don't deserve that word. What you've done to our game, the CFL, basically destroyed it. Just open your eyes. You know, you see all the empty seats in the CFL. That's because of you. Anyway, I'm going to sign off and come right back. Spyder, here comes Spyder CFL Red Zone roll. Got to get practicing the drumming. Spyder is coming back.